We made it to 50 episodes, my friends.
Woot, woot.
And I want to thank you for sticking with me and that unexpected noise that was just emitted during my introduction. What the hell? I'm sitting here trying to have this celebratory moment,
which it
is, and there's just this
woo,
woo,
yeah
from the background.
It's 11 p.m. Central Time, Thursday.
I was trying to do my intro.
Yeah, you can do your intro. I'll shut up this time. All right, go. 50.
50 episodes.
Bravo.
You did not shut up in the slightest.
All right.
50 episodes. We made it. Thank you. Especially now, more than ever, for sticking with me through this journey. And as you can probably tell by now, I had to ring in 50 with Tom. You know, he's here. We're here. This is why we're here. And for this special episode, I want to talk about the thing that's actually come up on 4 or 5 of my episodes. And I find that no matter how much I talk about this thing and have a grasp on part of it, and I do believe I have that grasp on part of it, the parts that I've talked about in other episodes, I still feel like it eludes me quite a bit. And I think you might feel the same way. So to maybe get to the bottom of something, I decided to just bring it up to Tom without his knowing so that you can hear his perspective. Plus, I thought it would be helpful. You've heard my perspective on this quite a bit, and you've heard me talk about him quite a bit on this thing, but you've never really heard his. So now is the time. Happy 50. Tom, what is love? What does love mean? How do we find it? How powerful is it? Where is it?
Well, love is magic. I don't think it can be defined in words.
Well, it has been on my podcast for 4 episodes, so
well,
you
first
gotta
off,
find
congrats
some.
on 50.
Thank you.
That's actually really impressive.
Woot woot.
Woot woot. But what is love? I don't really know what it is. It's a feeling, obviously, but there's different shades of love, different degrees.
Okay, pause and explain some of those things. You first said love is magic, so let's go back to that. What do you mean by love is magic?
Well, it genuinely cures things.
Shit. How?
By existing. It doesn't have a real meaning. I'm going to sound like I'm insane. It doesn't. It doesn't have a meaning. It's just a deep feeling, But then there's all these different layers to it. How it heals is by giving love. You're supporting somebody, right? Mm-hmm. They feel that love internally if you're giving it right, if you're properly giving it, and if it's genuine, it can cure a bad day. It can, God, this is way too. It's 11.
Yeah, and I think it's great.
It's 11. It's been a really.
I do try to not have my listeners know what time I'm recording something, so they can feel like it's fresh. But you've twice now revealed to them.
11.
Yeah, and once you even said the weekday, and you're kind of, ironically enough, taking the magic out of this.
Oh.
Because believe it or not, I don't want my listeners to know when I record shit last minute. But you're kind of just...
You just said last minute.
Yeah, you already said 11 p.m. on a Thursday. They know when the new episodes drop. Yeah. So they can put 2 and 2 together.
This is love right here.
I was kind of hoping that they would just forget that you said at the beginning 11 p.m. on a Thursday, but then you went ahead and just said 11 p.m. again. So
and I feel like your over-explanation as to my revealing the date and time calls it more attention to it. Anyway,
well, I have to now.
Love. Let's get down to
it. In all seriousness, you said it can cure things. Can you give an example? How does it cure things?
It cures things by just the absolute magic surrounding love, know, and feeling loved. You can have the worst day possible, but if you're feeling loved by your family, your loved, your partner, your best friend, whatever it might be, if you're feeling their care, their concern, their undeniable, the undeniable feeling of, okay, they can be my shoulder, that can cure your bad day,
Yeah.
that can cure you, Now, I'm not unrealistic and think I have the flu, as long as I'm loved, I'm going to feel better within an hour. No, but there is something to living a life of love and being loved that makes you try harder, makes you healthier mentally and emotionally, and makes you want to become a better person, which is all about growth, right? Like this podcast is all about growth. Well, love helps water the plants. It helps you grow, If you're a hermit and you don't love anything and you're basically the Grinch, like the story of the Grinch, he wasn't doing anything good. He wasn't doing anything good. True. He was stealing Christmas.
So the answer the whole time has been in the Grinch?
Kind of.
Because now that you're saying this, it's kind of opening my eyes a little bit.
Oh, think about it. Mm-hmm. Then they talk about his heart growing, 3 sizes too, whatever it was. But, that was love. And then look what happened. Brought everyone from Whoville together. They had their ham. And they opened their presents. Now, I know that's a really stupid analogy. I get it. But without love, we can't grow. Without love, we're miserable. We're not doing anything great without it. We need it. It's fuel. It's food. It's the sun. That's what it is. So there is no definition, and everyone's definition is going to be different, I love, having a Coca-Cola after a bad day. I like going to the gas station and picking up. I love that moment, But I don't genuinely love the Coke. I just love that moment. I love that peace. I love that feeling that I get from it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call that love, but it's your experience,
but it's
not mine.
But it's a form of it, though.
Yeah, maybe a self-care love
kind
of thing.
It's a form of love. So like I said, there's different layers. It's just...
Well, I want to go back to your piece about growth, because I am going to say, I've explored the topic of love, finding it, sharing it, all that, quite a bit on here. And I think if you do have to kind of summarize it down to one sentence, because I agree with you that there's layers to it, context, all that stuff. But I think the growth part, wanting to be a better person, that's the surest sign that you're in a loving relationship, whether it be a partnership, family, parenthood, even friends. When you are around people who you want to be your best self for and who you want to face your shit for. Because that's one thing I've for sure learned about human beings, is that most people don't want to face their shit.
No.
And there's too many ways to run.
Yeah.
And numb.
Yep.
And facing shit really isn't pretty a lot of the time. And sometimes it doesn't feel good,
No, it's the hardest form of love, of self-love, and finding yourself. Finding yourself is the hardest journey, because we're all full of shit at some points in our life. We're all kidding ourselves. We're all distracted. We're all in zombie mode for time periods of our life. I believe that. I believe that every human being on the planet goes through a time of zombie mode. And then eventually you meet somebody, or even you meet a friend, or you just find the right people, and then all of a sudden you start looking inward and then recognizing how much time you wasted being in zombie mode. But now I've got to face those things that made me feel like I needed to be in zombie mode, because now I have this other thing that I care deeply about. And it could be anything. It could be anybody. It could be a group. It could be one person. It could be your kids. Could be, And you got to be better for those people. You want to be better for those people.
I can relate and also add that the thing about finding someone who loves you and wanting to be better for that person is then when you're actually engaging in that growth and you discover who you really are and you're like, holy shit, that was here the whole time. Yeah, it was. I think another real sign that you're in a loving relationship is you love yourself more and you begin to like yourself and you begin to want to peel back the layers of who you are and be that. And I can certainly tell you that I want to be better for you and all of our kids, but since I've met you, I've actually, it's been very hard facing the things I'm ashamed of. But once that started falling away and it didn't rule my life anymore, it was like, oh my God, I actually like myself. I could have liked myself this whole time if I wasn't lost in that bullshit. And that's a message I definitely wanted to send to people out there, is that it's wonderful when you meet a partner who you love or a friend who you love or whoever. But right here and now, you could be in a position where you actually start to like yourself, where you actually know what self-love means. And it doesn't just mean, baths and massages and coffee. All that's great. But self-love is really looking inward and going, okay, yep, this soul, I like it. And I had a hard time seeing that until I met you. Because everything that I felt like made me an outcast was loved by you. And then I realized that, there wasn't something wrong with me. I just wasn't around the right people, or maybe those things were actually special about me, but they, you made me feel that. And so then it was like, oh, he sees it. He really sees me. And I've talked about that on here before too. It's like, you want to keep being more of yourself. You want to build on it. You feel encouraged. That's that whole Pygmalion effect thing that I learned about from Jay Shetty. Well, he talked about it on there, that when somebody actually believes in you, you start, performing better, doing better, all these things.
It's a powerful thing.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, we all have to believe in something, so we should believe in each other.
Yeah.
There's also that too. But then, meeting the right person or the right group. And I keep saying the right group, you know what I mean? Because we were just kind of talking about it earlier with another thing of being surrounded by the right people, but it's true. You if you can't believe in your partner, then to me you don't really love them.
Can you explain what you mean by believe in them a little bit more?
Believe in who they are, believe that what they can be, believe that everything before you, was still them, but they are who they are now, I think belief is support, in all forms, whether you agree, disagree with, whatever. I think you have to continue to. I think real love comes from belief in that person and belief of what could be, and holding on to it.
Why is it so hard to feel loved?
Because not everyone loves themselves. In fact, most people don't. Most people find loving themselves is the hardest thing to do. Because look at all my flaws. Look at all the times I was wrong. Look at all the times I raised my voice at the kids. Look at all those times I screwed up at work. Look at all those times I struck out at bat.
Mm-hmm.
I can't love myself. Look at all those mistakes. We don't forgive any of our mistakes. Well, we do, but not enough. So I think people struggle with loving themselves because of all the quote-unquote mistakes that they should be ashamed of.
Where do you think that comes from?
Parents. I mean...
No hesitation. Parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but that's where it comes from, you know? This is going to sound so Christian, and I don't mean it to be. But we're born perfect, you know? Clean slate. You know, we're born helpless, sweet, innocent, eyes open, everything's new. You know, everything that we're absorbing around us is just the only thing that we know, you know, and it's how we're learning. And then we're not babies anymore, but we're toddlers, you know. Everything we've absorbed up into that point, that's just our world, right? You know, and if you are surrounded by the wrong people, not saying that all parents are wrong, that parents don't make mistakes, whatever, but if you're not in an environment where your quote-unquote mistakes, your spilled milks, you know, if you grow up in an environment that you just did something wrong, every time you spill the milk, every time you don't clean up your room properly or mow the lawn to their expectation, or you strike out at bat or didn't score, you know, the winning goal in hockey or something, you grow up with that mentality that you're just making mistakes. And again, how does my mom and dad love me? How does my uncle, my grandparents love me when I'm just constantly failing in their eyes?
Yeah, why does it feel like why do mistakes equal absence of love? Because I feel it too. I'm asking because I feel it too. And I think you're right, especially in mainstream culture, United States, like mistakes. Because a lot of people speak a lot of pretty words of like, yeah, if someone can love you in the mess, like that's beautiful. But how many people actually successfully do that? How many people feel loved literally best, worst moments, everything in between?
I think, well, to that point, I think when people say they love you through the mess, it's a very romantic saying, and it's very, very valiant. You know, I loved you through your hard times. Mm-hmm. You know, to me, that's just a really good story to read. You know, but it's not really true. You know.
So how is it not?
Are those people still together?
Well, I'm just...
No.
I'm not even talking about couples who've said that. I'm talking about people when they talk about love. Like, even experts, you know, they'll say, yeah, really loving someone, you know, knowing, like, that's great. But what does it look like? Who's successfully done it?
Yeah.
You know?
Good point.
Because in those moments where all of your mistakes are screaming at you, and all of your fears about what the other person's thinking,
yeah,
and the same thing's happening with them. Their fears are screaming, they're picking the wrong words, their past is haunting, they're like,
yeah.
What do we do in those moments?
Well, I want to touch base on just one more thing. I think we've learned as a society, and at least my generation, that you know, mistakes are bad. Mistakes are bad things. They're not necessarily opportunities to grow and to learn from them. They're just bad. So I think there's been a generation, you know, a lot of past generational parents that grew up that way too, where a mistake is not an opportunity to learn. It's bad. You know?
Yeah.
So then the people that we're looking to for love when they're mad at us for doing whatever we might have done, but they're telling us they're disappointed and you made a mistake. Oh crap, we're bad. You know? I did bad. The person that is supposed to love me is telling me I'm bad. Telling me what I did was bad. And I think those things compound on each other, you know? And that's why we look at the mistakes that we've made in our past, and that's why we feel so much shame, is because, man, we knew our parents loved us, but fuck, we kept fucking up. We kept making mistakes, and those are bad because they just are. How can they really love me? How can I accept love with how much shit I've done? All the bad things I've done. You know? Quote unquote bad things.
I think you're absolutely right.
Let's mark the date on that one.
Yeah, it's recorded, so...
Woo.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think there's maybe an increased awareness of it right now, but...
Yeah, there is.
You know, so it's perhaps improving, but I think that's what it is. And I think it's incredibly... I can relate as a healing perfectionist. It is so painful that moment where you feel like you've said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, and now they don't love you, or, well, I'm not who they thought I was. Because dating is very perfection oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or early stages of relationship, and it's like, they must think less of me now.
Yeah.
That's so painful. To be in that moment where the thing was said, the thing was done, and your fears are just screaming. That hurts so bad.
Yeah.
And it's so scary, and it's so hard to shake. So how do we heal from it? How do we get out of this mindset of mistakes are bad, I'm bad, love is lost?
Oh. Still working on that one myself, I think.
Right. It's easy to point out the problem.
Yeah.
But fixing it, watering the garden,
right.
tending the soil.
Yep.
Oof.
I mean, my first thing is stay single. Fuck. Dating's terrible.
That's the absolute opposite of everything we've said. But see, that's
the
numbing. I mean, being single is great, but don't stay single just because you're afraid.
It's so cliche, but what I mean by stay single is don't jump from relationship to relationship. Take some time. If we're just talking about relationship love and loving ourselves, but figure out who you are first. Obviously.
I'm talking about when you're no.
What are we talking about?
Unacceptable answer. So
dating?
No, I'm not. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about like deep love. Like it's not dating or no. It's when you're in a relationship and you feel exposed or you feel like someone doesn't love you because they saw a mistake or you didn't, you're in it and you're struggling. Mm-hmm. What do you do then?
You fucking ask them.
Can you?
Yeah. Hey. This is how I'm feeling right now. Do you still love me? I know it sounds so teenage, but ask the question. Just ask the question, and look at them when they answer. Look at the person. Like if you're feeling unloved or you feeling like you made a mistake or you did something wrong or that you're not fitting, maybe you're not fitting in with your partner or you think that, ask them, hey, do you still love me? Tell them there's a disconnect. I'm feeling disconnected, because we all know when we're all disconnected. So ask your partner, simple, do you still love me? I'm feeling this way right now. I'm feeling kind of weak right now. Because we do feel weak. When we're feeling unloved, we feel weak. When we're feeling unworthy of love, we're feeling very small. I can tell you, and I won't publicly, but there's been many times after a fight where I'm just like, no, I'm this small. I don't deserve her love. What were you thinking? Like I do all that whole thing, and then and it takes me a while to even feel like I can even be loved by anyone. This doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. So and I'm terrible at asking you, hey, do you still love me? Like in those serious moments, I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the interesting thing about this is I have asked you that before.
Yeah. I'm better at
rarely,
giving
if
advice
ever.
than taking my own. I am a walking contradiction. Yeah, you got to ask for it, I think. I think that will help heal people. If they just ask. Don't tell the person, hey, this is what I need you to say. You know what I mean? But, hey, you still love me? We good?
Do you think time can help? Like
Yeah.
more time making mistakes and seeing that and feeling that the love is still there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Time proves a lot of things. Love is going to be messy sometimes. People are going to be at their worst. People are going to be at their best, But time truly does heal. Not all wounds. Most wounds. Most wounds. They heal over time. Most.
I talk to my inner child a lot too.
What'd she say?
Well, not like that. Like, and this is based on some research, like I finished Mo Gaudat's Scary Smart book today, and I read something in there where he said the myelination of the brain. So, a lot of the early wires are pretty much set by age 4.
Yeah.
And, the shitty thing about that is a lot of us don't remember consciously when we were 4.
No.
So, but those are our emotional cores for a lot of things when it comes to our reactions. And so I think we forget in the heat of the moment a lot that we are acting like children because it is literally our childhood responses coming out.
Because our parents were terrible. Like I said earlier.
Original point. Aunts.
Callback.
So, but it's challenging because you don't always understand. And so I have started picturing little Jenna, I give her hugs sometimes. I tell her what she needs, and a lot of it is just like, okay, it's okay. You were really brave, or whatever it is, or this is scary and you're strong, that's helped. Actually trying to picture my little 4-year-old face, my 90s haircut. It's helped. And that, connects to some of the things that I've talked about with love on here, and back to the whole self-love thing, is it's like, you are absolutely much better at love when you learn some of those techniques, to give yourself, it's that Jay Shetty quote, give yourself all the love that you hope for in another, because nobody can ever love you perfectly. They can only love you honestly. And learning some of those techniques of literally just talking to my inner child in high emotional moments, and also just everything that comes from my imagination that I was ashamed of when I was growing. Like, I try to tell her, that's cool.
Like,
right?
I'm sorry, clarify. You were ashamed of your imagination?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I thought I was weird.
Yeah.
People thought I was weird.
Yeah.
Now I go on a podcast and talk about fighting demons in my dreams. But you know what? That shit's real.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, and I'm sorry, but when I was younger, I had recurring nightmares, where this scary-ass spider figure would appear in my room.
Yeah.
And I would tell people, and they'd be like, you're batshit. And it's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. This is a real dream.
But then you grow up and you learn, that kind of stuff actually is real, So yes, I was absolutely ashamed of my imagination. And sometimes it was because some of my ideas were thought of as weird. And I'm not just talking about like the weird shit I saw in my nightmares. I'm talking about just story ideas, the way that I thought. I would sing a lot, just kind of quietly to myself in public, or I would narrate. Like, I remember I was narrating cooking that was happening once. and I remember this, okay? I remember this because it was either my mom or my dad, because I was at my uncle's house, and they were like, are you talking to yourself? And I was like, you know, because I felt embarrassed because I was just, you know, and it was like, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
But I remember my Uncle Dan, and he said, sometimes it's the best person to talk to. And I was like,
thanks, Uncle Dan.
but also in my mind I was narrating this like culinary experience, because it was like a family, you know, it was at my uncle's house and they were making some kind of family dinner, you know, and I was like, narrating what was so just little moments like that, you know what I mean, where I felt weird, but I wasn't, you know, I don't know.
I used to perform radio shows for my dog and my Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah. Can you say more about that?
No.
Well, I think it's great.
I would record radio shows like DJ, you know, and the song is coming up next, from my dog Mooch, and I had a Raggedy Ann doll that I confiscated from my sister's room.
Oh.
And so I would perform radio shows for them.
That's amazing.
I did get walked in on a couple times, you know. Embarrassed the hell out of me, you know, but...
I used to dance in front of my mirror quite a bit, too. Yeah. Like, I'd put Britney Spears on my boombox. This is more like, and I would dance and, like, say, and there were a couple times where my parents were spying on me. And... I got so mad and embarrassed and was like, you assholes. You're like, come on. If you're going to watch the show, watch the show.
Right.
Don't, you know. But then you feel like an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel like in your mind, the scouts are watching.
Right.
You're the next big thing. And then when someone's peeking
scouts
at you,
are
you feel,
another,
you feel like an idiot. But like...
I don't know. I just kind of realized that there's a complete difference. You're having dreams growing up of like this kind of epic, terrifying fantasy type spider.
Yeah, so I'm talking about everything from like my nightmares that people didn't think were real to dancing to Britney Spears.
Meanwhile, my dumbass is the fifth Ninja Turtle, you know, in my dreams. You're reading Mogadot. I'm reading Blink-182's Mark Hoppus. There is a difference between us.
What's that
think
difference,
about that.
Tom?
Just think about that. Our dreams are totally different than, what are you reading? Oh, a comic book.
Can I please tell them the other part of my Boynton Canyon experience? Because they know my side of that story, but they don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, sure. What we got?
Okay. So, my listeners all know about the shadow at Boynton Canyon, right? This deeply spiritual experience. I've shared the picture with you.
It's really cool. Check it out.
If you're not familiar, just go back and listen to the shadow episode. So, while I'm meditating at the spiritual vortex, talking with this ancient spirit there, my husband is walking around in a teapot pose, asking a Knowles if they want to be his friend and jump on his palm. Yeah. And if you don't know what a Knowles are, they're those like tiny little lizards that you see in a lot of warm climates. They're just everywhere. I don't know if lizards is the technical, but
no, they are
Knowles.
Lizards. Oh, reptile.
Reptiles, yeah.
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 Yeah, I like talking to animals, and I like seeing animals out in the wild, and I want them to be my friend. And I just really enjoy that.
And I love that about him.
I do. I love it. I don't know what it is. There's something about animals out in the wild, or just in general, that I'm just like, you need a backstory, but you also need to talk to me. You know? Like, I genuinely enjoy animals.
So there are differences between us.
Yep.
And it can be fun.
Yeah, no, it is fun. It just kind of dawned on me, like I'm reading Mark Hoppus and you're over here mastering AI. You know? You're growing. I'm just I'm just digressing
Yes.
into my teenage years of Blink-182.
Well, we all have our journeys.
It was such a good tour,
Well, my friends, part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you about love today is because it is the 50th show special, but I want to encourage you because I've noticed that it is the topic that I continuously come back to on this podcast, and I want you to know that love is the thing that we all want the most, yet seems the hardest to find, and not just romantically, but even within our families, our friendships. Like, too often, so many of us feel unloved and alone. And I want to tell you, you're not. Even people who found love are struggling to find love, as all of their insecurities scream at them. Speaking of my nightmares, I talk to them about my nightmares and dreams all the time. Lately, I have had a lot of horrible dreams about losing love. Like, I never actually found it. And
yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah.
And so you're not alone if you're struggling. And the beauty is that I think we're getting better at figuring out how to reconnect. I think there's a lot of things in this world that have disconnected us from ourselves. And so we seek that connection everywhere and doing it from a place of pain. And there can be a lot of beauty in pain, but I think all of the healing, all of the love really starts with everything so many of us are trying to do, which is to reconnect, and we're getting there. But don't be discouraged in the meantime if you feel like you just can't get it right. And if you feel like you're in the right relationship finally, but you're just not, like, something, your wires are crossed or emotions have been high or it's been hard, oftentimes that is a good sign that healing is taking place and that you are being real and vulnerable. Because I talk about my girl Brene Brown all the time. Yeah, I don't know where my phone is. I'm so sorry that my phone keeps going off. I don't know where it is in here, and I don't know how to silence it, so I apologize. But I talk a lot about my girl Brene Brown, and joy, love, all the things can't be felt without vulnerability to the other things. But I feel like the more that we do reconnect to ourselves and each other, the less all of these, screaming insecurities will seem so overwhelming and so debilitating.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah, I was hoping he would chime in that pause.
I'm just processing what you were
It's fair.
saying, You can't drop that. Expect a volley of a conversation. You know what I mean? Talking about Ninja Turtles, and all of a sudden you drop that, boom.
Well,
that's love.
It is love. So I love all of you listening. Thank you for staying with me. It's been such a joy to talk with you, each week. And we made it to 50 episodes.
50.
And
That's commitment.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
And I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah,
and,
I'm very proud of you.
I know there's several of you out there, specifically in St. Paul and Ashburn. I'm going to just go ahead and give you a shout out. There's a following in St. Paul and Ashburn, and you're wonderful. I look for you each week, just so you know. I see you. I know you're downloading my stuff, and I'm grateful for you.
And when you're not there, man. Woo.
Yeah, Ashburn, you disappeared for a while. I wondered what was going on, but you came back. Love comes back. Love always comes back. So I do want to give some specific shout outs to my St. Paul listeners and my Ashburn listeners, because I know you're out there. I don't know who you are, but I know you listen, and I'm so grateful for you and all of my listeners, and I'm excited to see where the next 50 episodes takes us. But in the meantime,
you can check out lovingcreatively.com for new content.
There is new content, but that was the perfect setup for the line.
Yeah, I was going to say the line. I was actually going to cut off when you started to say it.
Well, I want you to say it, because technically the line originated with you. So I'll get ready with the button.
All right.
And you say the line.
All right. Thanks for coming.